Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sheff United way. I am absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming. For me, it is the most embarrassing defeat maybe in my lifetime. And we've had some embarrassing defeats. We've not had many, to be honest. We've not had tons and tons of embarrassing defeats like some clubs sometimes have. But we are at the bottom of the league or round the bottom of the league, and we are playing a team that is also round the bottom of the league. They were actually rock bottom in this game. So we've been beaten 5-0 by Burnley, who were bottom of the league in this game before we started the game. I'm apoplectic with rage right now. I don't know. Actually, I'm constantly like this. I'm battling at the moment because I am absolutely fuming, but also apathetic. I really am. Like kind of 2-0 down at half time with McBurney sent off. I was thinking, do you know what? There's absolutely no chance of us getting back into this game. So I was actually kind of taking my mind off it a little bit and like playing with my son and stuff like that. Just things that you'd rather do rather than watching Sheffield United when they are 2-0 down and a man down against another terrible, terrible side, just as us. But we are by far 5 times worse than Burnley right now. Now, don't get me wrong. If McBurney doesn't get sent off in this game, 5-0 doesn't happen. And maybe it's 3. But it's still not good enough, is it? It's absolutely shocking. And I keep refreshing my phone because I am sure that Hecky's getting sacked tonight. I am positive about it. I was saying before the game, even if we draw, if there's no sort of plan or no sort of fight from the team, then he's still got to go, even if it's a draw. We've lost 5-0 against the team that's bottom of the league, battling with us to stay up. Like right now, I don't see a way of us staying up, especially with Hecky as the manager. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Hecky. Hecky is a good man. Hecky speaks really well. Hecky is probably a really, really good coach. He's got us promoted to the Premier League. You can't say anything more about it than he's done really, really well for the club before the start of this season. He did really well when he came in for Wilder and was interim manager. And then he did really well in his first season with the Blades. Exceeded expectations for me because I thought Norwich and Watford would have had a really, really good chance of going up last season, and they were nowhere near. So just the fact that we had, for me, one of the best sides on paper. I'm not buying into this. We had the best side on paper in the Championship. There were a lot of teams in the Championship with really, really good players last season, and Hecky got us promoted. But that's where it ends. It's got to tonight. There's no two ways about it. If Hecky is not sacked after this game, I don't know what to say. Like, you can't give him any more time. Like, I'm not saying that it's all Hecky's fault. We did not recruit in the right way. We did not bring in the right players. It's not good enough at all in any way, shape, or form from anyone, from the owners, the owner, the board, the management, the players. None of it's good enough. We don't have good enough players. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But the players are better than what they are playing. They are way better than what they're playing. Gus Harmer has gone right down to the level of some of the other players. Ollie McBurney's got sent off twice this season. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong a lot. He's been one of our best players this season, Ollie McBurney, but he's missed games for being sent off twice. He's missed games for being injured. Like, he's probably only played about half the games this season, McBurney, and he's still one of our best players. It's not good enough. The defence, I actually don't think the defence has been too bad this season. I think it's the midfield in front of them that's making them do too much defending. Now, I know the defenders, but they need a bit of respite. I think Trusty did okay today. I think Robinson had times when he was okay today. But, oh, God, it's just so infuriating. It's so infuriating. He's not been given a very, very good hand for the Premier League. Don't get me wrong. Um, it's not good enough across the board. I've already said that. I'm so furious about this season. Terry's already put Robinson best player for me this season. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. He has been, and he was good again. Good again today. I keep saying these players have been good, but in the Premier League, you've got to be better than good. You can't just be good in the Premier League. If you're not good enough in the Premier League, which most of our players aren't, you need to be more than good. You need to be very good, if not excellent. And yeah, we've just been below par, I would say, this season. Most of our players have been below par. So, yeah, we didn't start the game well, to be perfectly honest. I don't think I've ever said to myself, we have been behind in a game for 90 plus 4 minutes or 90 plus 3 minutes. I don't think I've ever said that. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life. But that has got to be the quickest goal ever scored against us in my lifetime, maybe against all four. I think it was 15 seconds, 14 seconds, something like that. And it's just an absolute travesty what happened. And George Bulldog, who I all the time give so much praise to, was one of those blokes that just didn't stick his foot in. Now, Palmer comes off the worst when the ball's kicked forward. Then George has a chance to get stuck in. George kind of turns his back on it and puts out a lazy leg, does not get the ball at all. They still have it. It goes out to the wing. And then Truste is just either ball watching, napping, caught on his heels, whatever you want to say. He is not ready for that cross coming in. It's 15 seconds into the game. I kind of understand it to a certain extent because not many teams score 15 minutes into a game. However, you've got to be ready for anything and everything in this league. Well, I say even against the bottom club, but this was one of Burnley's biggest games for a long time. Massive, massive game. And it showed. They came out of the blocks a lot quicker than us. They were better pretty much all the way through the first half, and then obviously the second half because we had a man less. But why weren't we out of the blocks that quickly? Is that the players' fault? Is that the manager not getting up for him? Is that the coaches not getting him up for it? Who knows? But when you're going into one of the biggest games of the season, if not the biggest game, it's got to be the biggest game. There's no game bigger than this. When you're towards the bottom, you need to be winning those games of football. And when you're going into a game like this, you all need to be on it from the first second. And they weren't. And conceding a goal so early, sometimes it galvanizes the team. It's like, if they'd have scored 10 minutes into the game, maybe that would have kind of galvanized us, but we'd have lost 10 minutes of the game. So, like, I was thinking, we've conceded after 15 seconds. That's shocking. That's awful. That is inexcusable. However, hopefully now they're going to be like, come on, what are we doing? We've conceded after 15 seconds. And I thought maybe, just maybe, this could be them, you know, this is the wake up call that they needed. If the manager and the coaches haven't given them this wake up call, that 1-0 should have been a wake up call. And I can't remember if it was before their second or after their second, but Ollie Norwood, I think, in the first half was the only one who had a shot on target from distance. Pretty good strike, easy save for Trafford, though, to be fair. But that's really all we had in that first half. It was shocking. I think Cameron Archer got one cut back to him from Truste that went over the bar. I'm pretty sure that happened after the second goal of theirs. But really, you go 1-0 down and you need a bit of fight. And we showed practically nothing of that. Very well done by Trusty down the left, to be fair. Did really well. It was overlapping centre backs going back to the throwback to the Chris Wilder days. Let's see if that could be the future as well as a throwback. But yeah, it's not good enough. And Hecky, unfortunately, he's got to go. It was humiliating, embarrassing, all the synonyms that you can use for a game like this. It just was. I saw a Burnley fan write as the first post, it's not embarrassing. you're just not a very good side. And it's like, it is embarrassing. Thank you very much. Now, if you're not a Sheffield United fan, you can't say that this was not embarrassing. It really was. And we've lost against the bottom club. What can I say? And we've got hammered. And yes, again, I've said this already. We went down to 10 men. It could have all been different. It probably wouldn't have been, but it could have all been different if McBurney didn't get sent off. And well, we'll come to the second goal first. I'm trying to remember. There were so many goals in that game. Yes, it was the ball over the top to onto behind, well, over the top of Thomas. Over the top of Thomas. He's ball watching. The line is actually incredible. The line is so straight, but Thomas is so far forward. The ball gets played over to him. And don't get me wrong, like the touch from Brun Larson was absolutely perfect. Like you couldn't have had a better touch than that. He lays it straight into his own path, and he's finished it. Wes doesn't really go one way or the other. I think he's thinking the player's going to go to that side, and he just kind of does nothing, and he passes it straight past his foot. And I don't mind Wes. There's a lot of Wes haters out there. I don't mind Wes. However, and I've said this to loads of people, I probably get a load of stick for saying this, but Wes has one or two incredible saves in him in it, like one in a season or something like that. But there's so many times when Wes lets in a goal that doesn't, you don't expect him to save. When I say that, what I mean is he never pulls out some, like whenever they go one on one, they score. Like 99% of the times they score. And fair enough, they should score. But I want to see Wes save something that we're not expecting him to. And yes, it's the defense fault. Yes, it's the midfield fault. They shouldn't get there. But that one was kind of just rolled past his foot. And for me, you have to just go one way or the other. You can't just stand there and just let a player just pass it past your foot. But I'm not blaming West for that goal. It's another one where the defence has let him down. Thomas should not have been playing in this game. I thought Ben Osborne should have been playing at left wing back today. I thought Ben Osborne should have been playing left wing back or right wing back, because I'd have brought him on instead of Bogle, because Ben Osborne is such a better defender than Bogle, such a better defender than Thomas. We've brought in all these left wing backs, and Ben Osborne is probably our best left wing back for me. It's shocking. It really, really is. Are we going to spend anything in January? Who knows? Because really, would you? If we need to bring in a manager now, I don't care who it is. That's not my job. Like I've heard so many people say to me, "Oh, if you think Hecky should go, who should he bring in?" That's not my job. It's just not my job. Like I don't need to say who we'd bring in. I don't know, but my job is not bringing in a manager. I have a separate job. This is not my job. So like, I'm not thinking about Sheffield United, even though I pretty much am. I'm not thinking about Sheffield United between 9 and 5 constantly. Yeah, obviously, I think about them a bit, but I have a job. Like at the end of the day, we the scouts out there that's scouting players, the scouts out there that are scouting managers probably over the last few weeks. Like like I don't need to give a manager that comes in and does well. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to sort this out. I don't know how much money we've got to spend. I don't know if we can afford to sack Heke. I don't know all the ins and outs of the Sheffield United kind of boardroom, if you like. But what I do know is that Heke is not getting anything out of these players. The players, yes, aren't good enough, but we can get a hell of a lot more out of these players than Heke, Stuart McCall, and Jack Lester is too. Because when it's all going good, everyone's singing Stuart McCall, Jack Lester, whatever. When it's not going well, people are just blaming Heke. And that's probably not all down to him. We've brought in this defensive coach, and the defense has got a hell of a lot worse. Now, we're in a better league, but it's still not good enough. Like, most of the goals that we conceded early on were from crosses into the box and corners and free kicks. And that is just bread and butter of defending. So, yeah, anyway, like, let's move on. Ollie McBurney getting sent off on the 45th plus 1 minute. Now, two games in a row where we have ended our hopes of getting anything from a game by, first of all, last week getting a letting a silly goal in like what Wes did to make it 2-0 at half time when we're already under the cosh by relegation struggling Bournemouth. And then this week we're 2-0 down at half time again. But if McBurney stays on the pitch, there's a slim chance, there's a slither of a chance of us getting something out of this game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that's happening. But if McBurney stays on the pitch, at least we're 11 against 11. Something could happen, and we may get something out of this game. We've just lost 5-0. And the reason why we've lost 5-0, one of the reasons why we've lost 5-0 is because Ollie McBurney got sent off. And I don't think we would have conceded 5 goals if this is 11 against 11. It was actually nearly early on in the second half when we brought on Traore, we brought on Asula, we brought on McAtee. And actually, I thought that spoke volumes to me that Hecky thinks he's getting the sack, because he's thinking, and that this would be my thinking as well, if we are going to lose this game, we're going to go down fighting, because if he throws on all these strikers and by some miracle we go and score a goal or score a second goal or something like that, and we bring it back, Hecky's probably not losing his job. So he's got to go for it. If we lose 2-0 or 3-0, that don't really matter to him. He's probably not going to be managing Sheffield United for the rest of the season. So he just goes for it, just chuck all strikers on, which is something that Hecky's never done for me, ever. Even when we're 2-0 down against other teams, even in the Championship, when we were losing, he's not one of these managers that just throws loads of strikers on like Neil Warnock used to do. He doesn't. He's never done that. So that spoke volumes to me that Hecky fell really, really under pressure in this game. So we brought on McAtee, we brought on Traore, we brought on Asula, and I'm thinking we're going for this. When actually Hecky does the Hecky thing and plays McAtee out wide left, Benny Traore out wide right, and then Asula up front on his own. Now, yes, we have a man less, so I understand that to a certain extent, but they didn't get high up enough supporting Asula for me. And Asula actually did really, really well when he came on. I was really impressed with Asula. He managed to nearly get us back into the game. At 2-0 down, Asula went through one-on-one. It was a difficult chance. Tries to lift it over Trafford. Trafford makes a good save. And then he has a free header a minute or two later. And it wasn't to be, was it? But Asula, for me, he's the only one that seems to be trying out there. Like, there's nobody else that I can think off the top of my head is trying anywhere near as much as Asula. I thought a lot of what they did well was down the left-hand side, which was Bogle, which was Anel. Anel's not been the same player for a very, very long time, since early on last season. Anel just, I don't know, he just seems so slow, turns so slowly. And he gets beaten quite a lot down that right-hand side. And the amount of bookings that we gave away, the amount of bookings early on, Fleck, McBurney, Thomas, obviously McBurney got another booking, but we just kept bringing him down time and time again. We just kept bringing him down because we weren't quick enough. We weren't on it at all today. We were slightly better in the middle part of the first half, but yeah, all I can remember is a long shot from Norwood, as I mentioned earlier, and then a shot over the bar from Cameron Archer, which he definitely should have done better with. It's on his left foot, don't get me wrong, but he's put that way, way, way over the bar. And yeah, he needs to be getting that at least on target and making the keeper move. And then we had 3 goals within seven minutes. Yeah, Amdouni, Koleosho, and Brownhill. I'm going to try and remember what these goals were like. I've literally just watched them as well, to be fair. Just watched them back. Koleosho also missed an absolute sitter of a chance that hit the post. I think it was just before he scored. So that could have easily been 6. Yeah, it's just embarrassing. It's just embarrassing, all of it. We got played off the park today, and not just when we were down to 10 men. It was all through the game. Like, they took the game to us at 1-0 down. If we would have been 1-0 up at home against Burnley, we'd have sat back and let them come on to us. They didn't. They were going for more and more and more goals. And that just shows where we are and where Burnley are, to be perfectly honest. And do you know what? Even us giving Burnley that 5-0 win today, that is going to give them so much confidence. So even if we do bring in another manager and we do get a bit of a bounce and we start picking up a few points, we've got there's a 10-goal swing there. They've scored 5 goals. We've conceded 5 goals. That's a 10-goal swing between us and them. Our goal difference was bad enough as it was. Never mind this happening today. So yeah, Burnley also, according to Ollie, I didn't look it up. According to Ollie, Burnley also hadn't got a point at home this season, and we've just given them 3 and 5 goals. So yeah, it's terrible. It's so bad. I'm going to try and go through a few comments now, guys. I don't want this to be a massive stream, to be honest. I'm pretty much done. I don't want to talk about this much more, to be perfectly honest. Richard's saying, heck yeah, out. It's an embarrassment. No way back from this. The thing is, if he'd have lost 1-0 or 2-0, I'd have still wanted him out, but there would have been an air of sort of uncertainty about it. I think all Blades fans tonight are saying he's got to go. Even the Heckians have got to say he's got to go tonight, because there's absolutely no way that he can keep his job after a 3-0 defeat at home to Bournemouth and a 5-0 away defeat to bottom club Burnley. Take down that sign in the dressing room to bottle jobs. Absolutely. There's no fight. We're not outplaying them. We're not outfighting them. We're not out. I don't know. I can't remember the last one. It's in my top. What does it say? I can't read it from here. Yeah, it's not good enough. You're absolutely right. I'm gutted. I'm feeling lost. Yeah, you're not the only one, mate. I've been so utterly embarrassed by United to be a Sheff United fan. Too right, because the thing is, it's not just embarrassing us in the league. 1 second. There we go. It's not just embarrassing us in the league. It's also embarrassing us across the world, because the Premier League is the biggest league in the world. So we are worldwide laughing stock, not just in this country. Good evening, Callum. Fantastic to have you, mate. Hecky needs to go by Terry. I'm the same, Nick. I'm absolutely livid with that performance. McBurney's red showed just how infuriated he is with what's going on. Do you know what? To be perfectly honest, maybe he didn't deserve the second yellow. The first one, if he'd have caught, I think it was O'Shea, with the elbow, because he throws an elbow out like that, McBurney, for the first one. If he connects with him, he's off. He's off. He's got a 3-match ban, and we're even more in the doo-doos. I don't know why I said doo-doos. Like, it's my channel. I can say what I want, but I'm not going to say it. Yes, right now, yes. Hecky out, Prince out, Deadwood players out. We want our club back. I think today throwing Fleck in there was just ludicrous. And I know that Vinny Souza has not been great this season. I know there's a lot of players that haven't been great this season, but I'm just looking at my phone. I'm sorry. I'm looking at my phone just to see if he's been sacked, because I feel like if he hasn't been sacked, I don't know what. Yeah, not yet. I don't think he's been sacked yet. Let us know in the comments if he has been sacked, because it's got to come soon. It's got to come tonight. We can't leave this any longer. Hecky is clueless. No passion, no grit, no ideas. Enough is enough, Chris is saying. It's a new low every week. John, that's what should go on the dressing room wall. It's a new low every week. And actually, they should feel embarrassed. They should. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's not good enough. And actually, I said this to my dad earlier on. Sorry, John. I'll just quickly read this. In 55 years, I've never seen a Blades team actually give up. To be fair, we've given up on so many occasions this season as well. It's not just tonight. I said this to my dad earlier, right? I don't understand it when players who are down towards the bottom, playing for teams that are not doing well, are not absolutely breaking their necks to show how good they are. Because Ramsdale had half a season, I'd probably say less than half a season, where he was incredible, and he got a move to Arsenal. Like, if I don't know, let me think. If Gus Harmer plays absolutely out of his skin, he's not going down to the championship with us. He might still not go down with us, but Gus Harmon's levels have gone flying down. And if he's playing well every week in a poor side, someone will see that and someone will pick him up. And why they're not playing for their own Premier League careers and playing for pride as well? It's not good enough. It's embarrassing. We'll just go for a few more before we leave it tonight. I'm absolutely sick to death of this team. It's embarrassing to be a Blade. By the way, let us know what you think of the new camera, because I've got a new camera, so it's quite close in. Let me know what you think of it. Hecky surely has to go now. Bye bye, Hecky. Get your coat. Thomas is awful at left back. Get the French lad back. I think it's still got to be Osborne. I'll be honest. I said after the Spurs game that those close calls would come back to haunt us. All those games where we conceded late goals, we had performances. Yeah, absolutely, Chris May. Derby's record, nah, I don't think that. We will pick up some wins this season. We've got 5 points. I think if we were still on 1 or 2 points, I think that we are struggling, but we've got them. We've got enough points in the bag already to only need a win or two, and we're safe from that. I never want to see someone lose their job, but Hudson now. All right, okay. Oliver's going for Hudson now. Only positive today was the threat Asula posed. Yeah, Asula needs to start in the next game. Nick, what the hell is the new defense coach doing to our players? Totally embarrassing. And we starting to say that every game. Too right, mate. Too right. Another Heckingbottom out. Heckingbottom and his Scottish idiot friend needs to go. Whoa. Johnny's going in there. Nobody's backed Hecky more than me, but it's now time. Go get a manager with modern ideas. This is it. Like, you either go Wilder just till the end of the season and try and get a bit of a bounce, or you've got to go and change the whole thing. You've got to change the style of play. You've got to change the players that we bring in, because this is not working. I don't want to see 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 ever again. I'm done with it. Unless Chris Wilder comes back in and instills that back into the players and we play like we used to play. Even under Chris Wilder, in that second Premier League season that we had with him, we weren't this bad. We were never embarrassing. We never embarrassed ourselves. It was always close games. We just did not have the players. We had a lot of injuries and we lost a lot of games of football, but it was always by 1 or 2 goals, never by 5, never by 8. Never by, I'm sure we lost 1 by 6. I can't remember now. It's going to be 8 against Liverpool and 6 against Brentford. Just talking about that could be. Nick, we can all accept defeat. We can all accept defeat, but not in this manner. It's not good enough. I'm absolutely fine with us losing 5-0 or 6. Well, I'm not. 5-0 or 6-0 against Liverpool, Man United, Man City, but not against Burnley. Bottom of the league, Burnley, who we are fighting up against. It's not good enough. It needs to change anyway. Let's leave it there. Looking very sharp, Nick. Thank you very much. Sydney St. Peters. The new camera is great. You need makeup now. Too right. I need a lot, mate. Get slated for this, but we miss Egan big time. Thank you very much. Yes, Egan had a bad season, but was never, ever this bad when Egan was playing. We never lost 8-0 or 5-0 when Egan was playing. I don't think Egan was playing when we lost 8-0. Dino free to start up. He's now retired, maybe bringing Jags in. Do you know what? Premier League, his Premier League experience as a defensive coach, I would be for that, but the manager needs to go. He does. Let's leave it there, ladies and gents. Thank you so much. Please leave a like on this video. I am absolutely so annoyed. I am enraged, and it would be nice to see some likes on the video. I'm begging at this point. I'm just begging for likes because I'm so annoyed. And a few more likes would actually make it's so sad to say, because I am, I shouldn't be this shallow, but a few more likes would actually make my night a little bit better. really would. Cheers, Nick. It won't be like this forever, mate. I know it won't be like this forever. I really appreciate that because it does feel like that sometimes, doesn't it? Football is the most important thing in the world 90% of the time until your actual life. Um, that's actually obviously the most important thing in the world. But football just feels like it's the most important thing in the world. And yes, Paul, I need to have a few beers. I really, really do. Thank you very much, mate. We're all hurting, but it won't feel like this all the time. It's right, and I'm just happy that my son, at this moment in time, is not old enough to understand how annoyed I am, how annoyed he should be. But yeah, it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. Don't let this ruin your weekend. It'll probably ruin my weekend, but don't let it ruin your weekend. Try your best to try and forget about it. I think there will be an announcement. There's got to be an announcement in the next 24 hours. And yeah, hopefully we can start afresh with somebody new and we can try and win a few games of football, try and get a few points on the board. And hopefully we won't be losing 5-0, 8-0, 6-0 every week. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.